started Instagram automation from scratch, this is exactly what I would do. So with Instagram automation, I've made so much money that I've been able to buy my dream car at just age 17. I've also grown one of my pages to 300K followers. I've grown some other pages as well to even a lot more than this. And I've not only gotten these results for myself, I've also helped, for example, Summit here get like 50K followers in just his first month, already monetized his page and making money with it. Ashmal, 100K followers, and I've helped a lot of other people go like even more followers than this, right? So I show you that not to brag, I show you that to know, okay, I actually kind of have some experience and I know what I'm talking about with this. And these are two principles that I wish I had known when I was starting out Instagram automation, right? And so the first principle is what I call sticking with one thing, right? So you're probably like, oh, this is some basic generic advice. Trust me, I'm actually going to go into detail here. When you're doing Instagram automation, you need to stick with one thing, all right? So that could be if you're a complete beginner and you're like, okay, maybe I want to do Instagram automation as my first business model, or even if like you're a big page owner who you have a big page and you're like, maybe you're constantly trying different things with your page in terms of monetizing different posting styles. With Instagram automation, you need to just pick one thing. And the importance of this is when I started out in online business, I remember like I was hopping around from one business model to the next. Like I tried dropshipping for a bit, and then I tried an agency for a bit, and then I tried this and this, and it was all over the place for me. And I was trying out things for a couple weeks, not seeing any progress, trying out the next thing for a couple weeks, not seeing any progress. And then when I actually started posting like short form content online, it took me like 3 months before I made my first dollar, right? But I was able to get to that point because I stuck with one thing. And then a year later, I've made literally enough to buy my dream car, well into the six-figure range, right? Which is between 100,000 and a million. I'm not close to a million yet, but I've made a very good amount with it, right? And so I want you to think about it with this analogy, right? Let's say, for example, you're broke, right? Or you're not making the money that you want, right? But you're at point A. This is where you're at. You're at point A and you want to get to point B. So maybe you're making no money and you want to get to point B where you're making $10,000 a month, right? There's a lot of different ways that you can make $10,000 a month, right? You could start an agency. You could do, YouTube automation. You could do drop shipping. You could do whatever business model is out there, right? Pretty much any of them can get you to 10K per month. And Instagram theme pages, Instagram automation is one of them. And so if you decide, right, because like I said, there's a lot of different models, and think about the different models like different cars, right? So like drop shipping could be one car, different vehicles, right? You're using a vehicle to get from point A to point B. So you decide what vehicle that is, what business model it is. Let's say you choose Instagram automation. The reason why a lot of people fail, and I'll explain it here, is because they never stick with one thing. They try one vehicle and then they hop to the next. They try another vehicle and then they hop to the next. And this is what you need to understand. Okay, so for example, you're starting Instagram automation and you want to, so you're at point B, you want to get to you're at point A, you want to get to point B. You're like, okay, I'm going to do Instagram automation to get from point A to point B. Okay, this is like the vehicle, the model of car that I'm going to take to get to that point, right? And so what you have to understand is, right, there is two factors which are involved here, right? There's the car, the vehicle, which is like the different business models, and then there's you, right? Now, the problem is a lot of people get so fixated on the vehicle, which is going to get them from point A to point B, they completely forget to focus on themselves, right? It's like there's two factors here. So think about it like this, okay? Let's say, for example, that I started so I was in a competition with someone. You take me and you take a random stranger off the street, which you just ran, like just a random guy, right? And you say, okay, you guys are going to do a competition and you're going to see within 6 months who can, create the best page, who can grow their page the most, who can make the most money from their page. A challenge, me and some random guy which you picked off the street. Who do you think's going to do who do you think is going to be more successful with that, right? The guy who you picked off the street, he might completely fail. On the other hand, I might do very, very well with my page. What was the difference there? Because you have to understand what was the factor there. It's like when you're doing a scientific experiment. What was the uncontrolled variable? The controlled variable was, okay, we were doing the same exact business model. What was the difference? Because he failed and I didn't. So we drove the exact same car, we used the exact same vehicle to get from point A to point B. I got to point B, he didn't get to point B. What was the difference? The only difference was me and him, right? So a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll try like Instagram automation, or just with any business model, people do this, but they'll try it for like a month and then they don't see any results. And then they're like, Instagram automation just doesn't work. Well, it worked for me, right? And maybe it worked for this other guy that I know, right? So what was the difference there? The difference wasn't the vehicle we were using. We were driving the exact same car. We were doing the exact same business model to get from point A to point B. The difference was the person driving it, the person actually doing the business model. And so this is where people get so fixated. They think that like they're just gonna be this magic business model, which is gonna make them 10K in the first 30 days. And so they try one, it doesn't make them the 10K in the first 30 days, and so they're like, oh well, I guess it must be a problem with the business model, because they never want to admit, okay, maybe I actually need to work on myself, actually need to develop myself into the person who could actually make that $10,000 a month, or make that $20,000 a month, or whatever goal that you have set for it, right? And so look, this is like very like this isn't like what you want to hear, but it's what you need to hear, right? Because I could sit here and lie to you like, Iman Gadzhi and all these other guys online, like, you're going to make 10K in your first 30 days and it's going to be like this and it's going to be super easy. I could do that and then just sell you a course. But in reality, like, I'm actually here because I genuinely want to help you, right? Like, I'm thinking, like, there could be someone on the other side of the screen right now who is in the exact same position as I was when I was starting out. And there's so much BS on the online space when it comes to this business stuff, where it's like everyone is trying to sell you on their course. And so because they're trying to sell you on their course, they're trying to sell you that this is the best business model. None of these other business models work, but my business model is perfect because of this and this. It's like, in reality, I'll be transparent with you. Any of these business models can work, right? Not all of them are equal. Some are better than the other, right? But it's not like the main thing. If you just want to make 10K or 20K a month, okay. If you want to make like $10 million a month, then yeah, you got to be very selective with the kind of model you're getting into. But if you just want to make 10 or 20K a month, it's like any of these business models can work for you, and Instagram automation can 100% get you there. But not if you're focused so much on the business model. You need to focus more on yourself. So let's dive into that, right? Like, what do I mean when I say, okay, you got to become the kind of person who can make 10K per month? Okay, well, here's the thing, right? So Instagram automation for me, like I said, and I'll repeat this one, Instagram automation for me, if I do it, equals buying a dream car. If you do it, right, from scratch, it means possibly working for you, possibly not working for you. Like I said, the difference is me doing it versus you doing it. It's not that we're doing like a different business model. We're doing the same vehicle, the same car. It's because I'm a different person than you, right? And so what do I mean when I say, okay, I'm a different person? Let me freaking change that. By the way, if you have any questions on this, leave a comment. I try to reply to every single one. What do I mean when I say I'm the different person, right? Well, you need to think, instead of like, okay, all these different business, by the way, drop a like on the video. You need to think, instead of thinking like, okay, should I drive this vehicle or do this business model, or maybe I should do this one, like blah, 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 right? Instead, what you need to think is, okay, how can I become the kind of person who will successfully do this, right? And what that entails is, okay, think about it like this. It's incredibly stupid to think and sit there and think all day, should I drive a Formula One car to get to my destination, or should I drive a huge truck to get to my destination, when you don't even know how to drive and you've never driven a car before? It's like, no, you should learn how to drive, right? Get on the road, get some experience, right? Before even worrying about, like, it's not going to make a difference, right? You're going to crash either one because you have no clue how to drive, and you're not going to get to that destination, right? And so what you need to think is, okay, let's say, for example, I'm going to drive a Formula One car. Well, what kind of person do I need to be in order to drive a Formula One car successfully? Right? Maybe you're driving a truck. Okay, if I'm going to drive a truck successfully to my destination, what kind of skills am I going to need for that? Because it's a very different skill set between those two. For example, if you're doing Instagram automation, you need to think, okay, what kind of skills do I need to develop as a person, which is how you change and develop your character, in order to become successful with Instagram automation, right? And so it's like, okay, if I was doing drop shipping, that's a different skill set. If I was doing sales, that's a different skill set. And so with Instagram automation, you need to think, okay, just think about it like this, right? If you're a beginner, okay, what skills does Mark have that I don't, which would make him successful and me not successful? And then all it is just a game of developing the same skills that I have, and then you can be successful with it. That's literally all it comes down to, right? People try to overcomplicate it with like, you need to do this specific kind of business model, and actually dropshipping doesn't work anymore, and this business model is the best. It's like, dude, any of these businesses can work for you. You just have to develop the skills for them, right? And so Instagram automation specifically can work incredibly well for you, but not if you don't focus, if you're so focused on like, okay, I'm going to try Instagram automation, but if it doesn't work in the first month, then I'm going to quit. It's like, no, because it's not, you can't develop the same skill set which I have, which it took me like months on end. Like, I've been doing this for like 9 months now. It took me all that time to develop it. You're not going to develop it in a month, right? You're not. Unless, maybe you've been doing it a long time before and maybe you're a similar skill set to me, but if you're a beginner, you're not going to develop it in a month. And so if you can't develop the same skill set as me as in a month, what makes you think that you're going to get the same results as me in a month? You're not. Right? Sure, there could be like some crazy outlier anomaly or whatever, but the point is, like, all these guys are lying to you online when they're like, you could look, I made $30,000 last month, so if you start, you'll make $30,000 within your first month. They're just trying to sell you a course, right? I'm just here to help you. And I do have stuff I sell. It's not like a cheap course that I'm going to sell to you, but you get the point, right? you need to think through it with the skill sets, right? And so, for example, with Instagram automation, it took me months to see success. It literally took me 3.5 months of posting to even just make my first dollar, right? And nobody else is gonna say that to you online that like it took them a lot of time. They're gonna make it seem super easy and everything. It took me 3.5 months to make my first for just my first dollar, right? And then it took me like 6-ish months to make my first 10K month. And then after that first 10K, I think the next month was 12K, and then I dropped down to 8K, and then I was at like 17K. So it took time, right? It took like there was months on end where I was posting videos day after day after day and not getting anywhere, not seeing any results, failing on this account, failing on this next account. But I wasn't actually failing. Why? Because what I was doing that whole time was I was learning that skill set, which eventually led to me at the point where I bought my dream car and made the 10, 20, 30, even almost 40K in 1 month just from Instagram automation alone, right? And so it takes time, and it takes time because you need to develop those skill sets. And so I want you to think about it like this. This is why I say you need to stick with one thing. It all comes down to developing those skill sets, right? Because those skill sets will allow you to achieve those results. Think about it like this. Let's say you're in high school, right? I'm actually in high school. It's my last year of high school. Almost done and graduated soon. But let's say, for example, that you are on the high school and you want to become really good. You want to become like the star player on the football team, right? You want to become like the high school jock, get all the girls, whatever, right? Obviously we don't live in like a 2008 Hollywood movie about high school. But let's say you want to become really good at football, right? So you've never played football a day in your life before, right? And so you're like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to train and I'm going to become really, really good at American football. Like, I'm just going to become so good at this, right? Well, you train for maybe 2 months, right? Maybe 3 months. After 3 months, what's going to happen? You're not going to get the starting spot in just 3 months if you never played before, right? And so what a lot of people do is they'll say, like, okay, I haven't made the 10K yet. Okay, I haven't got the starting spot yet. You know what? I'm going to stop playing football, and, football just doesn't work for me. I'm going to go try golf, right? And so all this progress which they make, which was bringing them closer to their goal, when they go to golf, it's a completely new skill set they have no experience in. So they just reset all their progress back to zero, right? And so now they're like, okay, I'm going to do golf, right? I'm going to become the star player on the golf team, which I'm actually on the golf team in my high school now. Of course, I'm the star player, Tiger Woods in the flesh. That was a joke. I'm actually horrible at it. I'm still learning, right? So, they start on a new skill set, which they have no experience in, and so they start back from zero again. They reset their progress that they made. And so now they get a little bit good at golf. After 2 or 3 months, they haven't made the 10K yet. They haven't become the expert at the golf team yet. And so they're like, you know what? Okay, let me go try a new business model. Let me go try a new sport. And so they're like, okay, I'm going to go try tennis. They reset their progress. Tennis, you get the point, right? It's like you make a little bit of progress and then you just reset it, right? So what a lot of people do is they'll like try Instagram automation. They'll start developing those skills. Their videos will start becoming better quality. They'll start understanding how to post better videos and how to edit better and what goes into a viral video and stuff like that, how to grow their accounts better. And then, after a couple months, they haven't made their 20,000, they haven't bought their dream car like I have, and then they're like, yeah, let me quit. Why? It's because the same reason that, the guy on the football team is the best, it's because he stuck with it for longer than 3 months. You think the star on the football team has only been playing football for 3 months? No. So how can you expect to become the star on the football team if you've only been playing for 3 months? Right? It's like it takes longer than that. You have to stick with that. It's like the same in online business. It's like me. I've been doing this for longer than 2 or 3 months, right? Version of me where I was doing this for 3 months, I hadn't even made a single dollar or had a single thing to show for it, right? Like nothing. Right, so you got to get out of this mindset where like you're just gonna try it for a month. Like, oh, I'm gonna try this out. Like, I saw a video of this guy the other day. He was like trying to give business advice, and not to diss on the guy, so I won't mention his name because he's still a beginner. He's made like 3 or 4K a month or whatever. But I was watching his video, and I was like, business advice for my younger self. I'm like, okay, bro, like it's good that you're making the content, but like if you're making only 3,000 a month, maybe you shouldn't be giving advice to other people, but whatever, right? Who am I to talk about it? There's people making way more than I am, right? So, I try to be as humble as possible. But anyways, so in his video, he was giving the advice, and he was like, you know what, man? When you start in business, what you need to do is just test, right? Like, you need to test. So, like, test this business model. And if it doesn't work for you, no worries, man. Test this one. If that doesn't work for you, test this one. Because how are you going to find the one that works for you if you don't test them all? It's the stupidest. I can't even speak now. It's the stupidest advice you've ever heard. By the way, subscribe to the channel because Alex Hormozi says this, right? If you are, you can succeed at anything, but you'll never succeed at anything if you try everything, right? I'll say that one more time slower. You can succeed at anything. Anything can work for you, but nothing will work for you if you're just trying everything, right? You can beat 99% of people, anything, if you just stick at it for 1 year, because most people don't have, they're so addicted on dopamine. They got to see the instant results. They got to be like, oh, I instantly need to get to this goal. Like, oh, if I don't make 10K in a month, I'm going to quit. If you just stick at it for 1 year, you beat 99% of people. Right? It's unreasonable to think that if you don't do just one thing, focused, right? Focus is the elimination of alternatives, right? So focus and commitment. If you get married to a girl, for example, commitment is, okay, I'm going to commit to you only. I'm not going to be interested in any other girls anymore, right? You're committed. You're focused to one thing, and you just do that one thing for the span of an entire year. It's unreasonable to think that you're not going to become incredibly good at it and at least see some success or hit your goal, right? Like I always say, like none of these goals are impossible. It's just a matter of time frame. Right, so it literally just comes down to a matter of time frame, right? Like if you wanted to get a good physique, you could probably get a decent physique in a year. You could get a good physique in a year. You're not going to get a good physique in 2 months, though, right? And like I said, me telling you this, I'll tell you right now, me telling you this actually hurts me, right? Because if I wanted to, just sell like a course to you or something, like the best way for me to do it, which is why you see all the guys doing it online, is like, oh, this is going to work so well. In your first month, you're going to make $5,000. In your second month, you're going to make $20,000. And it's going to be so easy. Your page is going to blow up. It's just going to be an awesome trip, man. It's like, no. What I'm telling you now is not helping me. It's just full transparency. This is how online business is. If you truly want to succeed, right? Because let all the other guys out there just try and hop around from one business model to the next. You got to be real with yourself, though, right? Like your goal shouldn't be like, okay, let me make 10K within my first 30 days. Your goal should be, okay, let me make 10K within my first 2 years, right? And you're like, oh, but I don't have to wait 2 years. Sorry, buddy. That's what separates the losers from the winners, right? Like I'm actually kind of an anomaly. Most people who start from scratch, it's pretty rare to make 10K within your hit a 10K month in just your 6 month of business, which is what I did. So even me, like don't look at me and be like, oh, I need to do it within 6 months. You need to think more long term than that, right? And it's like imagine you started a year ago and you did it for 1 year, you'd be where you're at now. So you got to do this for your future self. You got to just eliminate all these alternatives and stuff. So with Instagram automation, you have to stick with it long term. You can't come into this mindset of like, I'm going to try it for 1 month and then go try this and then go try this. That's going to keep you broke. That's going to keep you with no progress, right? And so what you need to think is, okay, I'm going to stick with this. And over time, even if I go into this as a complete beginner, or maybe you already have a big page where you haven't monetized it, maybe you're learning the skill of monetizing it, then what you need to think is, okay, what skills do I need? Okay, so Instagram automation. Okay, I need to know how to edit videos. Okay. I'll need to understand how to create digital products, right? Okay, maybe I need to understand email marketing. Like think through it. Right, and for your specific skill set, there might maybe your specific niche or the way you're doing it. Like maybe you're selling a digital product, maybe you're monetizing it a different way. You need to think through the skill sets that it takes you to get you there. And like you can just literally look at someone like me and think like, okay, what skills does Mark have that I don't have, right? Because I want to be in the position that Mark is in. What skills does he have that I don't have? And all you like, there's nothing different between me and you, right? Like I'm not some, like. I don't know if people think of me like this, but like when I was watching other guys online, it's like it didn't feel real. Like these guys were like different, It's like, dude, they're regular. Like I know other guys. Like I have friends who do like 70K per month. I know people who do over like $100,000 per month. Literally, one of my friends online, he has a Porsche, a McLaren, and he used to have a Lamborghini. So he's like balling, like making tens of millions. Maybe not tens of millions, but like millions of dollars, right? And like even him, he's like a regular guy, right? Like regular guy watching freaking brain rot videos on Instagram Reels and stuff like that. So it's like all you need is like you don't have to go through this weird like character ascendancy. Like you just need the same skills which I have, and you can like for example, if you go for someone to fix your car. Right, the reason you go for that guy to fix your car is because he has the skills in order how to fix cars, right? And he didn't just learn that instantly. I could hammer you with analogy after analogy. You look at anyone who's successful or has a skill in anything. Someone who's a surgeon, you think they just learned how to do eye surgery within 2 months. Someone who's a basketball player, you think Stephen Curry was the best player in the world after just 2 years or after 2 months of playing? No, he wasn't, right? You think name any example there, right? It takes time to develop this stuff, right? And it's so mind-boggling to me that people apply this mindset to anything else. Like if they want to become a basketball player, okay, it takes time. If you want to improve your physique, okay, it takes time. If you want to get this big job, okay, it takes time to get there. Maybe work up to there. If you want to get this degree, okay, it takes time. But online business, no, I have to make 10K in my first 30 days or I quit. And it's like the reason is because people lie to you online and they set unrealistic expectations to it. So but yeah, I mean it's just it's mind-boggling to me how people will sit there and like they'll hold the principle of like, okay, it takes time for anything else in life, but when it comes to this, they don't, right? By the way, if you want my mentorship to be successful with this, check the top link in the bio. But so modeling after other people, right? This is the second principle, I'd say, right? And this one is a lot simpler than the first one. I know that might have, but like I said, just leave a comment if you have any questions. But modeling after other people, okay, what do I mean by this? Alex Hormozi, if you watch my channel, you know that I'm a huge fan of this guy. I mean, this now, if you're like just trying to get started with Instagram automation, I probably wouldn't watch this guy because he's more like advanced business stuff, which I don't want to say like I'm in advanced business and like try to flex or anything, but I'm like more into like VSLs and putting people through funnels and calls and stuff like that. So for more advanced business or just for mindset in general, this guy Alex Hormozi is the GOAT, right? He is absolutely insane. Every video is just value, value, value. He doesn't even try to sell anything in the videos. He's just incredible, right? So he's like kind of like a mentor I really look up to a lot. I've read literally every video he puts out. I watch it all, like every Instagram post, Twitter feed. Like I've read all like his books and stuff. Like he's just insane. Like he's really, really good. So Alex Hormozi, for example, I remember when I started taking sales calls for people, right? When I started taking sales calls, I had no clue what I was doing. Right, because I hadn't developed that skill set. And so I was like, okay, well, how do I develop this skill set? Okay, so I can develop the skill set just through trial and error, right? Just like doing it, and I'll kind of eventually figure it out myself after a long enough time frame, because that's how humans figured everything out, right? Like, how do you think we invented the wheel? Did we invent the wheel by searching up on YouTube how to make a wheel? Like, no, we didn't, right? How do you think we created electricity, right? Thomas Edison wasn't like, how to create electricity, short tutorial, right? So I could have just sat there and just figured out how to do it myself. Or what I could have done, I could have gone to somebody who already figured it out and has just laid out the process for me. And so what I did was I went to Alex Hormozi and literally like I spent like a week or so just studying his stuff on sales. So like all of his videos on sales, like I watched like sales calls, live breakdowns, stuff like that, where he was role playing sales calls to people. And after that week, like I'm dead serious and not even joking, like my close rate on sales calls went from like 10% to like over 35 to 45ish%. Just from a week of that, right? So for me to get that by doing it myself, by like learning it through trial and error, it would have taken me a lot longer. But because he already laid out the framework, like, okay, I'm just going to follow Alex Hormozi's script framework, which is like C, clarify why they're there. Okay, L, label them with the problem. You get the point, right? It's like a sales call script. So with Instagram automation, what you can do is, like, for me, when I started, okay, it took me time to figure it out. I've already went through that trial and error process, or there might have been other guys, and this comes to any skill in life, right, who've already went through that trial and error process. What you can do is you can basically just go to someone who's already do it and just model after them, right? Now, I will say this one thing. When you're going to somebody who will do it, this is a principle I learned from Hormozi, because you see so many guys trying to sell courses, right? And the one thing I hate is people who never provide real value in their content and then they try to sell a course. This is a little bit off topic, but just please stick with me because I promise you that's going to make a point, which it's going to really make sense to you. Because you want to make sure, like, okay, the guy I'm learning from, is he legit, right? Because there's a lot of, like, fake gurus or, like, not so authentic, really good guys out there. And so what I really just look for is, like, is this guy providing real value, right? So, like, there's nothing wrong with selling, like, a course or a digital product or a mentorship or anything like that. The problem is when you create a crappy 10-minute YouTube video like Iman Gadzhi with, like, flashy edits providing no real value, and then at the end he's like, okay, give me $1,200 for my course. Like, dude, I don't even know, like, what is it? Like, sure, he's a lot more successful than me, but it's like, I don't even know, like, what is your process? Like, I watched a 10-minute video and half of it was just selling me on something, right? So what you want to look for is, my principle, which I learned from Hormozi, is never, like, you see so many guys like, okay, if you want to learn how to do this, if you want to learn the secrets behind this, then go ahead and buy my course. Like, what you want to find is someone who gives away all the information and what they sell is the help. Right, so you never, if you see someone online who, like, they're hiding secrets on how to do stuff and, like, they're not giving away the full playbook and whatever, don't trust that person. You want to trust someone who literally, just like on my channel, I try my best to literally give away all the information to you. The only stuff that I'm selling to you is like, okay, you want help with this? Okay, I can help you with this. But, like, you can, if you wanted to, you can literally just watch all my YouTube videos. Like, all the information is there. I don't hold it back. It's like, especially in my newer videos, it's like 50-minute videos, like, showing you exactly how to do stuff. Like, the kind of stuff most people pay in courses for. So that's the kind of principle which I've applied, and you want to apply that principle where if someone at least is selling something and they're not selling the information, they're selling the help with it, right? It's like, okay, here's the information. You want some extra help with it? Okay, here's my time. You can pay me for that, right? So Alex Hormozi, this is why I follow him. him so much, and you want to find like someone similar to do that with, specifically in the Instagram automation space. Like, find someone who's giving away all the value. I don't want to sit here and say like that's me, but like, because I'd be biased. So like, go find someone else if you want, right? You could find my videos, whatever, right? But just find someone who's already done it and just look into them like, okay, what skill sets do they have? What frameworks do they have? Okay, this is their account. How can I model my account similar to theirs, right? And so, so some great examples of this. I obviously would recommend mine. I'm biased to my videos, obviously. So that's me. And then this is another guy. He's a guy I know. Kind of like helped each other out in the past with pages. He is very good. He has like a 800,000 followers on one of his pages, 900K maybe now. But he makes some pretty good YouTube videos. He doesn't, I don't think he uploads very much anymore, but if you could go watch some of his videos, he makes some good videos there. This is not like sponsored or anything. He's just a guy I know, makes some really good videos. But yeah, so you could just find someone to model like that. So yeah, but you could go watch some of his videos, you could go watch mine, and then just model like our frameworks. Model like, okay, what are their beliefs they have around Instagram automation? How does that affect the actions they're taking? What are the skill sets they have? And then just break that down simply and just copy, whatever we're doing. And this comes to any skill, right? Like, if you want to become really good at bodybuilding, okay, go watch Sam Sulek videos or other bodybuilders videos, and they're explaining their workouts and what they're doing and stuff like that. And then go and model, okay, what are their beliefs around how to grow your biceps? What are their beliefs on this certain machine in the gym? And it's things like that which will help you model their training, which got them their same results. And so same here, right? If you model like what we're doing, our skill sets, our beliefs, stuff like that, you can get similar results, right? And so, yeah, I'd appreciate if you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you can see more videos. And also, if you want my personal mentorship so I can help you succeed with this business model, click the top link in the bio. Other than that, see you in the next video. Peace out. Hope you found this valuable.